Today's fascinating interview is with Kris Reid. Kris now lives in Vietnam, but he lived in London, traveled all over the world. So he has a really interesting story. But Kris focuses in on SEO and growing people's website and driving leads to that. And he works a lot with real estate investors, either agents, syndicators, and he likes to work with people in REI. So really interesting interview. Learned a lot today. I mean a lot. It really opened up my eyes into the world of SEO and digital marketing. So stick around for all of this because there's a lot of value to be had. As always, like and subscribe on Wrestling with Real Estate, the YouTube channel. Go to the WWRE Podcast and give me a 5-star rating and write me a review if you think it's worthy. And I'm looking to speak to as many of you as possible. If you're interested in real estate, I'd love to get to know you, see if there's any way I can help you. So there's going to be a link in the description down below, or you can go to wrestlingwithrealestate.com and sign up there. But first, enjoy today's awesome interview with Kris Reid. Hello and welcome to Wrestling with Real Estate, where we look to choke slam all your real estate problems. I'm your host, WWE wrestler, and now Cirque du Soleil performer, and of course, multifamily real estate investor, Barri Griffiths. Now, today we're joined by Kris Reid. Hey, Kris, how you doing?
Hey, man. It's good coming to you from Saigon in Vietnam, where it's always hot and sunny.
It's always hot and sunny and humid, I'm guessing, or not?
Man, it's 7 a.m. in the middle of winter, and it's like I'm shorts and a t-shirt because I'm sweating.
That's awesome. That's awesome. When I had no idea that Kris was in Saigon, Vietnam, when we hopped on the call. So I was in for a nice surprise. Obviously, he has an Australian accent, so he's from Australia originally. But when he told me it was in Saigon, I was like, wow, okay, this is a big bonus for this show, amongst everything else that we're going to talk about. So we're both drinking coffee as well, so we're both going to be energized as well. It's 4 p.m. here, it's 7 a.m. there, so we're both drinking coffee. Do you want to give us an idea about your background, what you've been up to, what your current focus is, and what you're up to these days?
Yeah, sure, Barry. I mean, like one thing is like, it's just so awesome that, you know, with today's technology, you know, you can be on the other side of the planet with 15 hours time difference, and we're able to have coffee and have a chat and work together online. You know, with this COVID fiasco around the world, like, there's no better time to work online. Like, this has been a shit year for most businesses. I tell you, it's not been a shit year for digital marketing. Like, we have never been busier because everyone wants to get online. It's like never been more valuable to have a website. It's super awesome. So, like, you probably heard, I'm from Brisbane, Australia. Studied software engineering at university. And there's kind of two ways to make money as a software engineer. You go and work in Silicon Valley, or you go and work in finance. I took the finance route, moved to London. Lived there for a bunch of years, and, you know, living high on the hog, you know, making millionaires richer, you know, working for all the big banks, which is pretty soul destroying work, but, you know, they pay enough money that you learn to live with it. And yeah, I thought life was great. You know, I had Europe as my playground, I was getting paid lots of money, and thought, you know, I was invincible until 2008 came around, the global financial crisis, and boom, my job disappeared. So did everyone I knew. You know, we were in our mid-20s, just like getting the foundations of our careers ready, thinking we're like just king shit. And yeah, the world took the rug from under us, and yeah, it was pretty like soul destroying. So I went back to Australia with my tail between my legs, going, oh, what am I going to do for the rest of my life? Because there was no jobs to be had, man. And even the IT jobs that are in Australia, they pay nothing compared to like finance jobs in London. I'm like, well, I'm going to take like a tenth of what I used to make. Get out of here. It's like working at McDonald's now. You know, like, yeah, I'm not going to do it. and so being a computer geek, I built an online game. And I wasn't doing it because I had any aspirations for business or knew anything about business. I was just being a geek and wanted to learn any type of programming. And then I was like, well, how the hell do you get people to a website to play the damn thing? And so I started learning about SEO. I read about backlinks. I built a bunch of backlinks to my website. It shot up in the rankings. I generated a heap of traffic. I was like, wow, this is really cool. And this is really fun. I ditched the game, and man, I've been doing SEO ever since.
Incredible. Well, you don't seem like your usual computer programmer either. Not to stereotype at all, right? But people can kind of probably hear, and those who are watching, you know, Kris has got a lot of personality. That's for sure. It's not. Would you say that's true, right? That's not maybe the typical.
No, for sure. I mean, like I've always enjoyed talking to people, and I mean that's what I do now is sales and marketing for our own company. Is I spend my whole day on Zoom calls like this. But yeah, like you go to our office, it's pretty damn quiet. There's a whole bunch of people there that don't particularly like talking to people. Yeah, that's your typical computer geek.
But that's crazy that you live. How long were you in London for? That's pretty cool. Did you?
Just a couple of years, 3 years, I think.
Okay. How did you like London? I love London.
Yeah, man, it's a super vibrant city, and like, you know, it doesn't matter how big and noisy you are. There's always someone bigger and noisier. Like, it's just, you can be as extreme as you want. There's always someone more extreme. It's awesome. But like, I'm a country boy from Australia, and that was my first real stint overseas. And, you know, having Europe as your playground, I was like, wow, this is just amazing. And London being as expensive as it is, it's like, it would be cheaper for us to go to Amsterdam for the weekend than stay in London, you know? So it's like, man, like holidays every weekend, just going to Europe. It was so cool.
So you were traveling a lot around Europe at the time?
Oh, all the time. Yeah, it was fabulous. In fact, when I lost my job, I spent, well, a couple of years traveling. Like I took a train from London to Hong Kong, all through Europe and all through Russia and down through Asia. You know, it was a really great trip.
Wow, that's incredible. The going back to when you moved, right? So you said you went, you got your degree or whatnot, you got your education, and then you had the choice, right? Go to Silicon Valley or go to London. What made you decide to go to London? And how was
actually I mean, I was just a naive little kid. I knew nothing. Like, Brisbane's a kind of big country town, and I'm actually from the countryside, not from the city. And there was this older guy that I was working with that was from London, and it was a bit of a joker and kept telling me all these stories. I'm like, wow, that place sounds amazing. It's like I'd never heard of the place before. Like, I'd only been working with him about 4 weeks or something. I'm like, I quit my job, got a visa, and was going. And like at the time, the pound was really strong. And so lots of people had been immigrating to Australia. It was like 2.6 to the Aussie dollar. And so lots of Australians were moving there. And a lot of them like work in pubs and stuff, not professional jobs. And so they don't make a lot of money. And I remember my mum going, man, you're going to get over there and you're going to be broke like everyone else. And I was like looking at the amount, like job ads and stuff. I'm going, you see this? Like, I'm going to be rich, man. This is awesome.
Well, maybe for those people, you were right in the middle of it, right in the heart of it, of the 08, 09 crash.
Yeah, so I was working for a securities clearinghouse. Like basically every trade that goes through the city of London, you know, you're trading a million bucks worth of stock for £1 million or whatever. They take the stock, they take the money, and then they make the trade happen. So they guarantee all the money between trades. And the amount of money that they had to secure every day, like the only person that could guarantee them was the Bank of England, which I actually had secret clearance, which was pretty cool. But yeah, like there was so much money going around. That was the biggest project in Europe. It was like 400 developers. The average day rate was like 800 quid a day. Like you imagine just 400 times $800. That's a pretty expensive project, right? Mm-hmm. And per day, and that went on for years. And man, you'd meet brokers that are in their 20s and they're making like crazy freaking money. Like, you know, there's guys wearing like bright yellow shirts and purple suspenders. They're just like oozing money. And then when the crisis hit, everyone changed their style. You know, it wasn't like champagne and cocaine at the bars anymore. Everyone's just having a quiet pint. And no one's wearing yellow shirts. It's like everyone's wearing white. It was very subdued, very, very quickly.
So you were rubbing shoulders with these, you know, you were doing all right for yourself, right? But you know, these, like you said, these brokers, whatever, they're making ridiculous money. You were rubbing shoulders with these guys?
Yeah, for sure. In fact, one time I took a tour to Dublin for St. Paddy's Day. Just went on a bus with a bunch of friends, and the guy running the tour, he was Australian, I believe, and about my age. I was, you know, late 20s, and I'm like, oh, well, you know, what do you do? And he's like, oh, I'm a stockbroker. I'm like, get out of here! Like you're a tour guide on a bus, like as if. And I told him where I worked, and like he knew more about the company I worked than I did. I was like, wow, you're not talking shit. He's like, yeah, I make so much money. I work 6 months a year, and then I do odd jobs like this and just have fun. I'm like, wow, that's awesome.
Wow, that's a story that you wouldn't expect. Like to me, as a stockbroker is a certain type of guy, right? That's addicted to money and that just wants to live a certain lifestyle. But I guess he was slightly different because most of them would work their fingers to the bone, I'm sure, just to make those millions. But I guess he was.
Well, he had a house. He had a house on the Strand in his 20s, so I think he was doing pretty okay.
Wow, that's fascinating. That's fascinating. But then, what was so? But when that happened, when the 08 crash happened, what was it like? Was it just literally? I've heard people compare it to turning off a water tap. Was it literally like that? It just happened overnight?
I mean, pretty quickly. Like, so every job, I'd had a few different jobs in London, and every job I'd had a pay rise, and a pretty big pay rise, and I was used to that. Yeah. And when I lost my job, I could actually get another job at the same money, and I was like, get out of here! I want a pay rise. Like, I'm so cocky. I've always had a pay rise, and I went on holidays for a little while, and that's as the crisis started getting really bad, and then it was evident that there was no jobs. It's like, had I taken that one, I'd probably still be living in London. So it's kind of a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, everything I guess works out. So that's really interesting as well, the UK. But what was the name? Did you the video game? Is that a big video game that I should know of, or was it?
No, it's. I didn't actually even finish it. There was still plenty of people playing it, and I guess they couldn't tell that it wasn't finished yet because they didn't know how it was meant to work. But yeah, like literally, because I'd always worked in banks. So banks generally make desktop software that's not connected to the internet because you don't want people to hack your systems. And if it's not connected to the internet, you can't hack it. And that's the sort of programming I always did. And so I wanted to learn how, web programming works. And so that's why I built it. And once I realized SEO is cool, I ditched that. I built a website and built a system to organize backlinks, and same stuff, and found that way more interesting.
So then you built the company yourself then that you own now, or what?
Yeah, so I built a bit of software. I built a bunch of websites that ranked really well, and everything was automated. I didn't do any sales. It just, people went to a website, bought stuff. It sent orders off to people to process it, and then the person who'd get it delivered. It was great. Like, we were making good money and didn't have to ever speak to anyone. That was pretty cool. But then Google kind of evolved. So what we used to do was what called forum profile backlinks. They're really simple. You go to a forum, you make a profile, and in that profile you have a link to your website. And we used to sound really cheap. Like, I think the most expensive one was like $1 or something, but we would sell a gazillion of them. And we had an army of people in the Philippines pumping them out, and they used to work really well. And then Google, so we had 2 websites in the top 10 for the keyword backlinks, which those 2 websites alone generated so much traffic. And then Google had an update called Penguin, where they found websites that were manipulating their system and building artificial backlinks like that. And they de-indexed our websites, and we lost all of our traffic and pretty much all of our business, and all of the stuff that we'd been doing for some time now became completely worthless. Like, those backlinks just did nothing. So that business just disintegrated overnight.
So how did you transition from that then? Was that a big deal? Because now it's like the second time you've kind of had that happen, right? The first time you've had the
I mean, it hurt because it was a cash cow that we'd been milking for some time, and quite enjoyed it. But we were already transitioning to like higher quality stuff. Like, I guess the writing was kind of on the wall because Google has an army of software engineers, right? And they're constantly updating the algorithm to try and find people that are trying to do BS and shortcut things. Like, they want, really quality websites with good content and great authority. And that's, so it's a good search result. Because if Google doesn't provide good search results, well, you'll go somewhere else. And so they're constantly working on that. And that, we'd already been working on some other systems, which we rolled out like around the same time. So it wasn't really that big a hit.
So then you transitioned into mainly SEO and digital. When did the SEO and when did the digital marketing come in?
Yeah, so like backlinks are essential. So for anyone that doesn't actually know what a backlink is, it's just a link from one website to another. And that is essentially how Google works. Like, because Google can't trust what you say, right? Because anyone can write any crap they want on the internet. And how do they know if it's true or not? They have no idea. They have to trust what other people are saying about you. So the more links that you have coming from other websites, especially websites in your niche, then the more trustworthy are and the better you'll rank. So we'd already started transitioning to like building better quality backlinks. Like I guest a lot on podcasts, and I do that for one because I get my message in front of our ideal customer, which are realtors, which works really well. But also we get really good backlinks because I certainly hope that you're going to be linking to us, which is what we do it for. Yeah. And that's why backlinks are so valuable, right? Because you shouldn't be gaming the system. It takes me at least an hour to provide content to get that link, and it takes you effort to put it on the website and whatnot. That's why it's valuable, right? Because you can't like game the system. And so we'd already started transitioning to like helping our clients do that and provide better quality content and doing the whole website stuff. Yeah.
So then how did you? So now who you'll say it better than I do. Who do you work with now? What is your client and who do you work with right now?
So our ideal client, well, really we have all kinds of customers. We have customers that sell fancy dog coats for like $5,000. I mean, like who the heck is buying these coats? They sell a lot of them. In fact, they sell so many of them that they're a reseller of lots of different dog products. One of the manufacturers of their products contacted us recently and went, they sell more of our product than we do. Like, and you're doing their marketing. We need you. So that was pretty cool. But really, we like working with realtors. We work with everyone from investment companies to people that want to buy distressed houses, people that sell luxury real estate, titling companies, like you name it. We do it in real estate, and I really like real estate a lot because they understand that it's an investment, and that's what you're doing with the website. Like, it's one thing I did learn with having a couple websites that ranked really well with backlinks and then they disappeared because we were doing crap. Like, we were kind of breaking Google's terms of service, which is not what you want. Like I made a lot of mistakes in business. I knew nothing about business when I started. And like for anyone that's listening, read some freaking books about and build a business plan. It'll save you years of heartache. Yeah. Like working out where you want to go. And like, it's the same with your website. It's not for this quarter. It's not for this year. It's for the lifetime of your business, which is forever. So it's like you're building your reputation. It's just like if you're, a syndication company, you can't like take someone's money and run away with it. Sure, it might be good for that week, but like you're not going to get any money next week. Like you need to build that reputation. You need to take their money, make it, great investment. And then more people are going to give you money. It's the same with your website. Keep working on it. Keep building up that reputation, and it's going to service your business and drive you traffic for forever. Sorry, I forgot what your question was.
No, you answered it. Yeah, but that's really interesting. But how did you end up, how did you end up working with real estate investors or people? How do you work with real estate in general in that niche? Because you like the world is your oyster, right? There's so many different aspects, like you said, dog coats or whatever, right? How for
sure.
How did you end up
like? E-commerce websites are usually good for us because the person's already making some money. The biggest problem with sales with SEO is people don't understand what success is really going to look like. And so, if they're already making, I saw a report just recently, one of our e-commerce websites, they've been with us about a year now. They were doing about 10K a month when they first started with us. They did 55K last month. Which is pretty damn nice increase. And they're like, hey, can we spend more money with you? And we're like, hell yeah you can. And so like that works well because they were already making money, and so they can see that I would do more work and we'll make more money. Where like if you got an e-commerce website that's not making anything, it's really hard to imagine what success is like. Even realtors, like their website mightn't be making anything. Sometimes I talk to people that are spending 10 grand a month with Zillow buying leads. I'm like, holy crap. You're sending all that money to Zillow. Zillow does not give a shit about you. They will send those leads to whoever wants to give them more money. And you're building up Zillow's reputation, Zillow's power, so that they can charge you even more money. rather than investing in your own, because they don't understand it. And, a good chunk of the time I get that message across to them and they go, cool, here's some money. But sometimes I fail, and because they don't understand it. Like, if you know, like, how powerful having a website that generates you leads and traffic is, man, you kick yourself that you didn't do it years ago. Like, I have screwed up a lot of things in business. I had a HR steal like 40 grand one time. Like, you name a mistake, I've done it. But I tell you, like, when we eat our own dog food and we do our own marketing, and man, my calendar is like chock-a-block full. It's awesome. Like, thankfully I've got a great team that does all the work. I just get to sit around and talk to people like you all day long, which is, it's great. I love it. And it takes all of the stress out of business, because, whatever you screw up, as long as you got more customers coming in and you got money coming in, like, you live to fight another day. Like, if you're struggling to pay payroll, and I've been there, it sucks. And you're counting like, oh, if I close that deal and I get this come in, maybe that'll be enough to make payroll. And it's like, I've been where it's the worst job in the world. It's like some months I'm not getting paid. I'm struggling to make payroll for everyone else. And it's like, I can never take a holiday. It's like, I'm working my ass off. I'm not making any money. This sucks. It's terrible. And it's like, well, and where do you go? It's not like you can quit. It's like, I got all these team members, fire everyone and, refund all the customers that we've already taken money from. It's like, how do you get out? I've been there, and it's like terrifying. And you're like, there's no escape, and you just got to do it. And thankfully, things changed, and we learned, hey, do your own marketing, get more customers coming in, and have that consistent growth. And man, like, I was writing a letter to one of our core team members who's just getting a promotion. I was just writing it to her last night. Hopefully she doesn't listen to this podcast before she gets it. And that's one of the things I was taking, because she handles so much of our marketing that I don't have to. I can just trust her to get stuff done. And I'm like, man, I'm not stressed ever, because it's like, we got customers lining up. You guys handle the business stuff. It's like, that makes business a real joy. And that's what having a powerful website will do for your business.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the website and the digital marketing in a second, but I'm interested, so you've obviously built a team, right? And I think this is applicable to real estate. That's why I'm asking, is that you've managed to build a team, right? You have people that's doing stuff for you, right? Which sounds great, right? We all want a team. We all want people doing for us, blah, blah, blah. And you've got to have the business to run that. But how are you able to build a team? And I'm sure you've learned through trial and error. You've said that you made some mistakes, but how now do you hire? How now have you structured your business so that you have that team, so that you're able to have that freedom to do, what you want to some extent?
Yeah, it's not easy. We still make mistakes hiring the wrong people. We got rid of one person last month, one person the month before. Both of them were on probation, though, and they didn't pass probation, which, it still costs a lot when you have someone around for 2 months and they don't pass probation. It's like, not only do you have to pay their salary for 2 months, you go back to where you started. So it's now, you're like 2 months ago. Like, it's a big mistake. Like, we have a really great recruiter that I have lunch with quite regularly to, like, make sure that she really understands, our goals, what we're trying to achieve, who our people should be. She spends a lot of time interviewing people. You got to get in as many CVs as you can and filter through them with as best tests as you can, and try and make sure the person has your company culture. Not just that they're, really good at what that they do, but like, that they're a good person. And it's not easy. Like, we certainly make some mistakes. We tend to have the mantra of like, hire slow and fire fast. It's really hard to do too. Like, especially when someone doesn't want, like, when someone embeds themselves in the team and everyone likes them, and you go, they're not doing a great job. Getting rid of them is really hard too. But like, finding people that you really like we have an office here in Saigon, but we have a lot of remote people as well. Our team here, we really like hanging out with each other. We have lunch together every Wednesday. On Friday, we all went and had beers and then had dinner. That was just an ad hoc meetup. It's like, no one's forced to. It's like, we want to hang out with each other because we like hanging out with each other. And like, that makes life so much better, because I enjoy working with the people I work with. Plus, I when you hang out all the time, you really know each other. And so you can say things without them being too sensitive, so you can criticize their work because everyone needs it, right? You go, oh, this could be better or whatever hell. And that's one of the things that we try and do a lot is to help each other. And one thing I really look out for in hiring is like a great question is, how have you educated yourself past university? Like, what do you do? What books do you read? And if they've not done anything, if they be really blasé about it, well, they're probably not a good fit. Like our recruiter, for instance, she goes and studies HR on the weekends. She's doing like a HR course, and it's like, that's awesome. That's someone that wants to better themselves, and that's what we're looking for.
That's interesting. Yeah. I love that, how you built the culture as well. Like you said, when you build those personal relationships as well, not only can you say stuff like you said that, people might not take the right way otherwise, but also people want you to succeed, right? If you guys are going out for lunch and dinner and having beers and you guys are building that culture, people want to help you and they want that company to succeed because they like you, right? I think that's important as well. Yeah, that's such a good point. Now onto the digital marketing, right? The SEO and all that good stuff, right? We say, for example, let's take an agent, for example, right? How do you guys work with an agent? Because my wife's an agent, so I'm interested. I'm asking from a personal standpoint. Yeah.
So Barry, I should be talking to her after this.
Yeah, maybe I should have had her do this interview instead of me. Yeah, she would have looked a lot better on camera as well than me. But do you guys have a standard process? What's kind of the deal with that?
So we don't have standard packages, and any marketing agency that gives you a standard package is total BS. Like if they come to you with a small, medium, and large, then get out of here. Like a question I get asked all the time is how much is SEO? And the truth is you can spend any amount you want. A Goda spends like $1 billion a year. And there's plenty of more room in the market for them. The internet is so vast, it'll blow your mind. Our brains aren't equipped to understand how big it is. And so that's a really bad question. What you need to work out is, where do you want to be? What's success look like for you? How many more customers do you want? Because no company can grow exponentially. Like our biggest problem is recruitment. It's not getting customers. Like we have customers lining up. It's a freaking great place to be. But we have a crappy business that when we get more clients, we need more team members to implement the work, which, it's not ideal. I'd rather be one of you like syndicators where you can pretty much take on as much as you want. Sounds like a much better business model. I should learn something about real estate. But like that, no matter where our customer is to start with, whether they don't have a website, whether they have a website that doesn't make any money, whether they have a really established website, we always start with the same process. We're like, where's your business at? Who's your ideal customer? What's a customer worth? How much are you currently spending to acquire a customer? How much can you spend to acquire a customer? It was Dan Kennedy that said, the company that can spend the most to acquire a customer will win in the end. And these are questions that most people just don't have a clue at. Like when I talk to people about what their conversion rate is, they're not tracking it. They all tell me they're the best salesman in the world. They're like, yeah, 80, 90%. I'm like, really? I'm a freaking good salesman and I don't hit those numbers, but you're all better than me. And that's one thing that we help our people track, because like our goal is never particularly search engine rankings or traffic, because like if we don't make you more money, then you're not going to stick around. And that's what we want to show you. That's our reporting that we do. We don't try and show you like, oh, look, you made all this traffic. You made more customers. And we really try and get people to use the CRM correctly, which a lot of people don't use. So like what we track, because we use Google Analytics to see who's on your website, Google Tag Manager to tag them, and then Google Data Studio. So we tag them into your CRM. And as long as you use the CRM correctly, that this one became a customer, then we use Google Data Studio, we're big fans of Google products, to pull that data out and show you this is the URLs where people came from and turned into customers. Because one keyword might have a lot of traffic and another keyword might convert a lot better. Like for instance, the keyword how to invest $50,000. That has more search volume than how to invest $500,000, because more people have $50,000 than $500,000. But the 500K keyword might convert at a much higher rate, and they're probably investing at 10 times the amount too. So it's a way better client. So it's really important that you're tracking the right freaking numbers and providing that information back to people, and so that's really where we try and focus.
So do you help agents get just investors, or do you help them get any kind of?
Yeah, I mean, it really doesn't matter what our client does, whether they're a hotel chain, an author, a podcast. I mean, just a few people that we work with are luxury hotel chains. Entrepreneurs on Fire, one of the biggest podcasts on the planet. Mike McCallott's one of the best business authors. Like, it doesn't particularly matter what they do, because it's always the same process. Who is your customer? That's the first thing that we need to understand. We need to get into their mind to work out what they're searching for. Because often people don't know what the solution to their problem is, or otherwise they'd go and fix it, right? They're searching that I've got a headache, and your business solves that headache. And so we need to understand what your customer is to work out what they're searching for. Then we do like the keyword research on that to work out, these are all the keywords that they're searching for, and this is the search volume. From that keyword research, that's how we organize everything, how we structure the website, how you write your content, how you have your category pages, how you have your blog posts, how you even do a podcast. Like as you said yourself, you're doing a podcast now, one a day. If you ranked every one of those podcasts for just 100 searches a month worth of traffic, which is nothing, that's a really, really small amount of traffic. Holy crap, you do that every day for a year, then you got a massive website. What'd be 36,000 visitors a month? Like, so Entrepreneurs on Fire, he gets $1 million in podcast sponsorship, $1 million a year in just podcast sponsorship. I think from memory, he has about around 18,000 visitors a month. You'd have 36,000. There you go. Boom. $2 million worth of podcast sponsorship right there. If you're doing your SEO right with these one podcast a day. So once you know what your keyword research is, then we need to do a website audit to see what the heck's wrong with your website. Why is it not ranking? What is something a big issue? Some things can be little issues and they can wait for later, and some things are big issues that need to be fixed right now. And then we design a strategy, and the strategy is based on where your goals want to be. Like if you're currently getting 10 customers a month and you want 100, or if you want 1,000, or if you want 10,000, then it's going to be a different amount of work to implement it. And that's what we work out. So like digital marketing, all digital marketing kicks the crap out of any other traditional marketing, like, newspapers or radio. It's like, why do people use that crap? Like you just can't measure it. How do you know how many people watched your TV ad? Never mind tracking the conversions. It's really difficult. Where digital, whether it's Facebook or YouTube or even Google ads, you can see how many people saw your ad. You can really accurately measure everything. But one huge advantage of SEO over paid ads is paid ads, you stop spending, you stop getting. And if someone with bigger pockets comes around to buy those up, they'll take your ad space. But with SEO, what you spent last month, you get this month and next month. It compounds and it just gets bigger and bigger. And so you can see with all our clients is it just snowballs. It like you get that hockey stick growth, and like that's really awesome and super exciting. And and it is a science. Like Google's algorithm, you pass it what it wants to see. Like it wants a fast loading website that has good site structure, no broken links, that the content's good quality, and that you're a trusted authority. You pass that stuff to Google and they're going to love you, and it's never going to change. It's only ever going to get more valuable.
All I heard was that you can make me $2 million. I didn't hear another word. That's all I heard. No, but it's really interesting, man. This is fascinating stuff. I don't hear many people talk about it like this very often. What I don't know if you get asked this quite often. What's some mistakes that you see people make that maybe someone listening here today, maybe that they don't have the money to invest, that they maybe can change in the next week or two, or just a habit that they can improve on? To improve.
Yeah, so most people think they need a website, and it's like, well, if you're not going to get that website in front of people, why bother having one? Like it's like a business card, right? A business card, if you're sitting in your desk drawer, it's useless. Why bother printing them? And don't go to a web designer. They're crap. They know nothing about making money from a website. Like one of our more recent customers, he previously spent $20,000 on a website. It's a freaking lot of money, which he didn't need to spend, and it generated him zero return, like a zero return on your 20 grand. Like that's so sad. And I hear that all the time. He's not even in a competitive market. He's in Langley, this little village near Vancouver. And it's like, man, you can't it didn't take us long to rank it and get him making money. He didn't need to spend that much money. So don't go to web designers for one, they suck. The other mistake is like not understanding that you're investing in your business. Like actually another REI podcast host that we did a strategy for, he looked at our strategies and went, man, that's expensive. I'm like, really? He's like, I already pay one guy $400 a month. I'm like, and you've been doing it for years and you get zero traffic. Why bother? Go and take that $400 to the pub. You'll get a better investment. You get a better return. You get a hangover. It'll be a lot more. But like, why waste money if you're not getting a return on that? Like, digital marketing. You just as a shooting from the hip. I don't particularly like to shoot from the hip. But what we say is, don't expect anything for 2 months. Month 3, you'll start getting some return, and month 4, you'll have a profitable campaign. So as long as you've got the money to cover it for 4 months, then you should be good. Usually we can beat that, especially if it's already an established website. It's our goal to get the website making money as quickly as possible, because that's when we secure ourselves a long-term customer, and that's where our money comes from, is long-term partnerships. In year 2, when you come back and go, hey, can I give you more money? And we go, yeah, you can. Because now your website's, actually making bank. Like, why wouldn't you want to up that investment? Yeah. So like, understanding that it is an investment, like, why go at it half-assed? If you can't go at it like fully, then don't bother. Like, don't build a website, have a Facebook page, go and make one yourself. Like, especially where I live in Vietnam, they don't know that there is an internet outside of Facebook. And so if you had a website, it'd be pretty useless, right? The Vietnamese do not go to Google. They go to Facebook to search for things. And so you can just have a Facebook page, and that's cheap and easy to set up. Go and do that. Like, if you want a website, that's going to actually serve your business and generate your customers, it's valuable, and it's not easy to do. If it was easy to do, then everyone would be doing it, and then it wouldn't be valuable again. It's really hard to get right, because not only do you need to build the website, you need to rank the website for the right keywords, and you need to turn those visitors into leads. Like, so often you see, a pop-up straight away. It'll go, hey, join my newsletter. It's like, no one's joining your stinking newsletter, dude. No one wants more crappy, spammy email from you. Like, that's not how you generate a lead. Or like, even like a call to action of like, give us a call. It's like, that's way too aggressive, especially if you're a syndicator and you want someone to invest 50 grand. It's like, they're not coming to your website to join your newsletter or give you a call. Like, you need to build a lot more trust in that. So understanding the nuances of that is really difficult. And, why would you try and learn that unless you do that? Like, in fact, man, I tell you, anyone that's starting a business, read some freaking business books. Like, two that I found really valuable are both by an author, Mike Michalowicz. Profit First, about how to always have a profitable business. And man, we've never been unprofitable ever since I read that book, which I highly recommend. And the other book is called Clockwork, How to Have a Business That Doesn't Revolve Around You. And, we're not perfect. Like, I still do have to do some things, but I can go on holidays for a week and come back and the business is fine. It doesn't particularly grow very well without me. I kind of fuel the flames, but it hums along nicely without me, which is great. But one thing that he talks about in the book is like, what's your queen bee role? The queen bee is the most important bee in the hive, and all the other bees work around to protecting that queen bee to do her role. And like, in our business, it's our analysts doing billable hours for our customers. If they're doing anything else, they're not making the company money. That's what we need to have all of our analysts doing as much as possible. And, so whatever your business is, if you're not doing that, you're not servicing your queen bee role. And it's like, man, SEO is not easy. No form of digital marketing is easy. Like, why would you learn it yourself? Go and hire an expert. Like, we have a Profit First professional that does our accounts. We could do our accounts internally. We're not going to do it as well as her. She's probably cheaper than have us trying to do it internally. Certainly does a better job at it. And it's that we don't have to worry about it. We can trust that a professional is going to look after it, and we can focus on what we do good. And that's a real secret of business. Don't get freaking sidetracked. Stay at what you do good.
Work on your business, not in your business, right? Especially like you said, when you're able to build a business that doesn't rely on you, you're not the bottleneck, right? If you're just everything relies on you. How can your business grow, right? Of course, you've got to be involved, like you said, and you've got to be doing certain things. But if it always relies on you, whatever happens to you, well, then there's only so many hours that you have in a day. So I think that's important for everyone.
Well, and you've also you made yourself a job, not a business, and like I was saying before, it's a job you can't walk away from. It sucks,
Yeah. You said something there that I wanted to ask you. So you said when you're building a website or whatever as a syndicator, you have that call to action that you get on a call, or you send them like some kind of document or whatever, and you get on your email list, right? And you said that's way too aggressive. How do you suggest? Do you have better suggestions how to build that trust and how to build?
Yeah, for sure. So you need like a lead magnet is what you need, and it needs to be a really good one. Like. A great keyword for a syndicator is how to invest 50K, because usually syndication the minimum investment is 50K, and so you can be sure that someone that's searching how to invest 50K probably has 50K. So you can have a nice article about how to invest 50K, different reasons, and then a nice timed pop up. So not straight away, as they get halfway through the page, so they're reading it and they're going, yeah, Barry, he seems to know what he's talking about, and they have some trust for you. A nice time pop-up comes up and goes, hey, you want to know the 5 biggest mistakes people make when getting into investing or investing 50K? Give us your email and I'll send you this video or this guide or whatever it is, whatever format you want. People give you an email, you send them a guide, or send them a video and show them that something that's really relevant to what they were just looking at. And they're like, wow, this Barry guy knows his stuff. Then like email marketing is so, so valuable. Then you nurture that lead, you send them some more things, like here's me on a podcast, here's another article I read, and then eventually you can nurture them to being on a call. Like for instance, if you look at e-commerce websites, Amazon converts just at an insane amount. Like most e-commerce websites are converting well under 15%. Last time I read, like Amazon's converting like over 90%. It's like just massive. Because like everyone knows and trusts Amazon. It's like you know that they're going to look after you. You just give them your credit card details. It's safe. You go to some other website. I don't know who you are. Yeah. So even if you sell like whatever widget, someone searching for blue widgets, they land on your website. You got blue widgets. Like getting them to buy it, it's a whole different thing. You even want to like try then give them a lead magnet. You go, hey, look at the 5 biggest mistakes people make when using widgets. Because you want to build that trust, you need to get them back to your website. Like that's why remarketing is really, really valuable. So remarketing is when you have a Facebook pixel on your website. And so anyone that comes to your website, Facebook marks them. And then you can advertise to those people on Facebook. And so they'll see your ads and they go, wow, Barry's everywhere. And he's following your ads. Like if you look at a book on Amazon and then you'll see those books everywhere. That's really good for branding because you're only marketing to a small audience and they see you again and they're like, oh, cool. I can know and trust these guys because, that's who people do business with, those that they like and trust. So the first thing as a small brand, you need to get that person's email address. You need to be able to like contact them and send them more stuff. Don't try and sell them all the time. Don't go, hey, buy my shit, but like build some trust, like just show them that you're an expert, show them you can help them by helping them.
Interesting. Yeah. Fascinating, man. That's awesome. That's such an interesting kind of insight into all that. It's a fascinating world, right? It's just like most of us, me for one, have no idea about half of this. And it's just so.
I tell you, a great example of just how people don't understand how valuable it is. One of our customers who's a big time painter, like this guy has franchise in like 7 or 8 states. He's massive. I was talking to him. He knows like every painter in the US, like house painters. And he was telling me most painters are doing about 200K and are struggling. The ones that are smart enough to have email marketing set up are doing over 2 million. It's like 10x your business from email marketing. It's like, even if that cost you 30 grand to set up, which it doesn't, it's like, what an awesome return on that investment. Like, and that's just the email marketing. They might have a website that actually, generates new business. Like it'll blow you away what it can actually do. And it's like, why the hell would you be learning this yourself? Hire an expert and get it done.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of hiring people to do stuff. I'm just I don't. I think you go so much further by hiring people, because just like you said, you don't want to have to spend time learning all that stuff, right? You have to learn it, and then you have to try and implement it and make all the mistakes. Just hire someone, and then you'll get to the same level, but much quicker and probably cheaper in the long run as well. Hey, let me ask this before I get into the 4 questions I asked at the end. How did you end up in Vietnam? I should have asked that early on, but it's always, I was wondering that.
Yeah. So I fell in love with a beautiful woman when I was living in Europe and moved to Russia, and Russia's really cold, and she was really cold. I spent one year living in Siberia, and it was freaking terrible. I called my dad one day, going, "Oh man, I'm sick of this crap. Russia's it's nice, but it's cold." And he's like, I'm like, "Where are you?" He said, "Phnom Penh." I said, "Where the hell is that?" He said, "Cambodia." I went, "Where the hell is that?" But I said, "Wait there, I'll be there in 24 hours or whatever." I jumped on a plane and I got to Phnom Penh. Phnom Penh is the next country over, and it's, I don't know, 200 kilometers away from me now. And then I took a trip down the Mekong, which is a big river that goes through China and Thailand and Myanmar and Cambodia and Vietnam. And I took a trip down to Saigon and went, "That's a pretty cool town." It's a really big city. There's 9 million people or something here. And so you can find everything you need. And I set up shop and been here ever since.
Wow, that's incredible. That's cool. You're not afraid of traveling, that's for sure, huh? And trying stuff different and new stuff, right? You just,
Yeah, it's nice to taste everything the world has to offer.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there's I always like to ask people real estate related wrestling questions. Sorry, I've forgotten what I was talking about there for a second. I'm that excited that you're living in Vietnam. So the first question is, what would your wrestling name be? If you picked a wrestling name for yourself, what would it be?
Man, it'd be the same as my SEO name. It's, you go to Google, type the coolest guy in SEO, and man, if you ever see my face, Google is broken. So like, yeah, that definitely my wrestling name.
So the coolest guy on SEO. That's
the coolest guy in SEO, yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. The coolest guy in SEO. You definitely are. There's no doubt about that. So every wrestler has a special move. What would your special move be? Maybe not necessarily real estate, but in business in general.
I mean, I'm very good at spending a lot of time in isolation. Can you use that in wrestling? Running away from everyone and meditating.
If they can't find you, they can't beat you, right? But in terms of strength in business, what's your biggest strength in business, you think?
Sales. I mean, like my daddy told me, like, if you learn how to sell, you'll never go hungry. And, I didn't really know what he meant by that. And when I got into business, I'm like, wow, you need to actually be able to get clients. And that requires being able to communicate effectively. And I spend a lot of time like on communication. In fact, one of our clients recently was on her first podcast, and she tanked. She's like, "Oh man, you sound awesome on podcasts, and I suck." I said, "Well, yeah, I spent a lot of time doing it and working on it." I wrote her this big long email to try and encourage her. Like a few years ago, I got invited to speak at a conference. In fact, I got the headline at a 2-day conference. 800 people there, and I had, it was pretty nerve-wracking. I hired a speechwriter to help me with my speech, and he was such a gifted guy. And he's like, every morning I would get to work and I'd practice my presentation. I'd record it, send it to him. He'd send me feedback. He's like, higher intonation on this bit and whatever. I learned it by rote. Then, after a couple of months, I flew to the city. It was actually in Manila, and gave him a presentation and loved it. It was awesome. And it gave me such confidence to be able to speak. But even with like podcasting, I have my podcast talking points. He helped me a lot with that as well. Like, write out all the different things you want to talk about, different stories that you have, exactly what you're saying. Like, and you become so good at it that, now I can ad-lib a lot more, but you can bring it back to your talking points, and sound like you are an expert. And I hope that came across today.
That definitely came across. Yeah. Well, you're a good speaker. You have a great personality, I think, anyway, in general. I think, you're a fun, exciting guy, I think. And I think that, that comes across through this, I think.
Oh, shucks, Barry.
I'm just giving you compliments so you can make me that $2 million. That's all. So what's been the biggest body slam you've taken in your business career? Something that's
so having a couple of websites getting tanked, that certainly hurt. That certainly hurt a lot. Like it made me realize you need to think about the long term, and do things the right way. Don't try and take shortcuts. And that's kind of when I actually started probably becoming a businessman and like reading a lot. Like I read loads of books. I'm reading all physical books, audio books. I just try and never stop. And like, if I had done that when I first started, I would have got here a lot quicker. Like there's a beautiful book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, which I've read a couple of times. And the very first habit is begin with the end in mind. Like, where are you going? Because if you don't know where you're going, it's really hard to get there. And I didn't have a clue, so like taking the time to work that out, super valuable.
Yeah. And you can apply to that to investing, real estate investing as well. If you don't know what your goal is, right? What does your ideal life look like? All that stuff. How can you even figure out how to get there? Because you don't know where you're going. So that's brilliant. Was there a moment that you were standing on the top rope, getting ready to jump, but you were too scared? What was it, and how did you overcome it? I don't know if you seem like the guy who gets scared of anything. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing that I have one project that hasn't launched yet. I've been writing a book for about 4 years now. And it came very close. I have a writer that I'm working with on it, and we came pretty close this year to get it done. In fact, we wanted to done the first quarter, and it got delayed. And we're like, the whole purpose of the book is to generate customers. And they're like, we have so many leads coming in and so many customers coming in that we don't need more leads. Like, so we kind of shelved it. And I'm still in the flipping between, is that like you trying to protect your ego, or is like, what is holding you back from releasing it? Is it scared of like, I don't know, will grow faster than I'm capable of handling, or is you're not happy with the quality of the book? Like I don't know. Are you lying to yourself? Are you making up a story to make you sound like you're too good? It's hard to like get around your own ego sometimes, man.
Yeah. I like that a lot. I like that you brought that up, because I think what I found in real estate investing a lot of times is people will make excuses. They say, no, I can't do that because of this. Oh, I don't want to deal with tenants and toilets at midnight on a Saturday night, right? Well, the reason they're saying that is because they're scared of taking action, right? Rather than, they make up excuses so they don't have to feel like, oh, well, I'm scared to move forward, or I'm too lazy, or whatever it is. But if they make that excuse, oh, it's perfectly fine, right? Because this reason, right? And I love that you were able to ask yourself that, because I think you were able to catch yourself and ask yourself, well, really, is that really the case, or am I making excuses for myself, right? And if you're able to do that, it helps you get past those, because we all do it, right? We all try and protect ourselves, right? Like you said, it's ego. I think we all try and protect our ego, because none of us want to be like, oh, I'm not good enough, or I'm too lazy, or I'm too scared, or whatever it is like that. And if you're able to ask yourself those questions, I think that really helps to get past certain boundaries, certain mountains or whatever. I'm struggling for words here, but you know what?
For sure.
Yeah,
certain hurdles in life, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Certain hurdles. That's it. Yeah. Well, man, Kris, this has been awesome, man. I've really enjoyed this interview. It's been a lot of fun, and I've definitely learned a lot from this. And I think I'm sure anyone who's listening, you've sparked a lot of interest in there now. So how can people find out more about you, reach out to you, get a hold of you?
Two different ways. They can go to Google and type in the coolest guy in SEO. And man, I'm serious. Like if I don't cover the first 10 pages, then Google is broken. There should be plenty of ways to find me there. But you can also go to ardourseo.com. So Ardour means to do something with fiery passion, and that is exactly how we do SEO. So ardourseo.com/REI, and there you'll see a little video of me. And if you pop in your details, I'll do a video review for you. So I'll show you exactly what your potential customers are searching for, in what quantities, and show you some simple things that you can change yourself on your website to get your message in front of them and predictably grow your business. So that's ardourseo.com/REI.
For people who don't believe Kris, sorry, I just put it in now, and boom, what do we have right there, right at the top of the page? that handsome chap right there. So yeah, definitely practices what he preaches. Well, Kris, thank you so much, man. This has been a lot of fun. You're just getting ready to start your day there with your second cup of coffee, and I'm sure it's going to be a good one. So thanks so much, man. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Barry.